Okay, so why don't we begin? And welcome everybody. It's great to see you. We have a intimate group tonight, and that makes more room for personal sharing and time to drop a little deeper. Welcome, Jasmine. We're just getting started, getting ready to attune, and invite you to mute yourself, and then you see me do this, find the comfortable spot on your cushion, feel your feet on the floor, and gently let the eyes close so we can see more clearly. We close the two eyes so we can open the third eye that looks within and without at the same time, both the inside and the outside. And just notice the breath is coming in and going out. Whether you believe you are worthy of it or not. The earth is unconditionally supporting you. She is holding you whether you believe you deserve to be held or not. Rest in her presence. She's got you. We all know the breath will be gone at some point. So breathe deeply now. Breathing is only possible now. There is no breathing in the future. Let the breath breathe you instead of you breathing the breath. It knows what to do. It knows where to go. Visualize it now like a gentle golden force going into any part of you that feels stuck, that hurts, that is tired, that is numb. Stay with this visual of the golden force circulating through you. Keep allowing it until it slowly fills every part of your being. There's nothing you have to do but say yes. There is nothing to wait for. There is nothing you have to learn first to get. The life force is here now, exquisitely wise and kind and caring There is nothing in you that it can't and won't touch and warm and fill. Feel it now. Remember this feeling. Bookmark it. Come back to it often. Hafiz said, every breath you breathe is a miracle. And slowly coming back when you're ready, taking your time, all the time in the world, your own time. We can wait. Those of us that are slowly coming back, just to drink in the faces on the screen. Looks like they're just people, but we know they're souls, right? We know these are angels in human form here. And our privilege is to remind each other who we really are. Because only then can we let in the help that is here. All the help that we could possibly want is here now. So the way we usually begin is, is just take a moment and say your name and where you are and a little bit about what you're feeling right now. And don't even refer to anything that happened even an hour ago, right? Anything you want to say about what you're noticing right now is welcome. You can take your time with it even. Anybody can begin.
I'll begin. Hi, Brian. Hi, everyone. I'm from Toronto. It's hard for me to describe what I'm feeling right now. But in general, it's hard for me to describe or in tune into my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like apparent anger or apparent sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something currently I'm working on to what is it that I'm feeling? Because I think I've been so disconnected. So that's what I wanted to say. I don't know what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jasmine. Welcome.
Hi, this is Kay. I'm in Durham, North Carolina. Physically, I'm feeling a bit tired, and otherwise, I'm feeling curious and open.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Kay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Judy. I'm from Toronto. Brian, thanks for guiding that meditation. What I noticed was the part of me that was so resistant to letting the light in. I was enjoying sitting in my misery, and I didn't want to. I had that negative pleasure of, oh, poor me, self-pity. It was self-pity. And I didn't want the light to come in and disturb my amusement with myself. So you ruined it for me.
Thank you, Judy. And I feel some freedom with your honesty for all of us. Yeah, that's where we are as human beings often. And how wonderful to have a spiritual path that welcomes every bit of our humanity, right? There's nothing we have to clean up to be here. I love that.
Hi, I'm Catherine. Oh,
Go ahead,
I'm
Kath.
Catherine from Schaghticoke, New York. And I just came through a workshop of a week where it was a roller coaster, so I'm feeling rather contracted, but also curious and sad and numb. And I mean, a ton of things. I'm just trying to think of things that are most prevalent and grateful.
Welcome, Catherine,
Thanks.
to our Come As You Are event.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kath. I'm calling from Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, I'm feeling right this minute quite composed and open in this minute. So, yeah.
Welcome, Kath. And what time of day is it where you are? Help me remember.
It's around about 10:13, 10:15 in the morning,
Okay, thank you.
Tuesday.
Guys,
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. And I am feeling a little tense, maybe just especially from a physical standpoint, but I'm also feeling very comfortable and peaceful. So I'm kind of feeling that on a deeper level. But yeah, I'm feeling a little tension in the body, but that's all okay. It's all good. Good to be with everyone.
glad to have you back, Mark.
I'm Robin from Calgary, and I just got back from a week of vacation, so I'm feeling quite well rested, and I'm just eager to learn more, I guess. Yeah, I always like to learn.
Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
I can go. My name's Kath as well, and I'm also in Australia, but I'm in Queensland. So same side of Australia, but further north than where Kath is. And this morning, I just felt really good since I got out of bed, to be honest. I just feel like it's just beside myself. It's just beautiful. But when you said, just let the breath breathe me, that just felt so good. Just like, I don't have to do anything. I just have to just let it happen. So that was beautiful. Yeah, I just excited to be here. I just love seeing everyone's faces and being here together. I just think it's such a fantastic opportunity, and the technology, like, I don't even understand how it works, but I love it.
Welcome, Kath. I feel your joy. It's contagious. So, Pat, it's up to you, I believe.
Wow, I thought there was two more. I must have snoozed off there. I'm Pat. I'm in at Seven Oaks Retreat Center in Virginia, and actually feeling surprisingly detached after a very complicated day. Sort of in one of those lucky. I don't feel very sticky at the moment. So feeling open, relaxed, and ready to just see what comes from tonight.
Okay. I believe everybody's gone.
Oh, I didn't go yet,
Oh,
but I was
yes, sir. There you are. Thank you.
I was late coming in. I gave myself like 5 minutes to get here on my cell phone, and I pushed the alarm to go off, and lightning hit the internet. So had a thunderstorm, and when I got on, it was saying golden light, and it's kind of like that kind of light here with the with everything. So I, yeah, just came into the meditation. So I think I'm a little high strung or anxiety or something. But glad I got here.
Glad to have you, Esther. Well, my name is Brian. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I'm feeling weak and tired and not very sharp. And asking for help to demonstrate what this lecture is really asking us to do, which is to be aware that no matter what the temporary experience of limitation is in the human being, that at times can be quite intense. All is well. We are held. I'm held. You're held. And not only are we held, there is in fact good news that's almost too much to comprehend, which is the whole universe is working on each one of our behalfs, right? And even as I say this, I feel like some energy moving through me that I feel better. And I know it's not just my energy, right? It's the life force, the cosmic pull. And there's also a special experience of that. It happens when we come together like this, Kath, like you were saying, you know, for those of us where it's the end of the day, it's easy to be tired, you know, a little bored and numb. So we're going to borrow some of the Australian energy from the two Kaths, you know, new day energy, and really consider there could be some small miracle for you today. Right? That can happen at any moment. The guide says this amazing phrase that you're never closer to a new life than you are right this moment. Right? Our reality is we think because of a struggle it's somewhere down the road, right? Yet on the spiritual level, it's like a big chunk of ice falling off a glacier, right? That change can happen that seems quite modest and small, a new insight, a new awareness, yet it starts that magic of that self-augmenting, self-sustaining process, right? Where life really wants us to be happy. Life wants us to be fulfilled. Because life wants us to be able to bring our gifts of our heart, our creativity, our intelligence to life. So that started out as my sharing. I went over that. You say, I'm going to blame Kath for that. Got me all juiced up. So what I like to do now is just open up the floor and say what's been moving through you in any way around this lecture from our last meeting to this meeting. And remember, everything is welcome here. Doubt, skepticism, confusion, excitement, right? And whatever you say I can tell you the rule of thumb we use when somebody speaks, there's at least 2 or 3 other people in the group that are having a similar experience, right? We're a voice in the room, each one of us, not just for ourselves. So let's open it up here and see. Not everybody was here. That's okay. Most of us were.
I was looking over my notes earlier from last week, and the things that stood out to me were the guide saying that really the end result of this is to have an experience of freedom regardless of what the outer circumstances are. And that's something that I've actually been working on. And the other note that I wrote, well, I wrote a lot of other notes, but the other one I thought was really helpful was that all we need to do to have this is to empty our busyness. And I am so aware through a meditation course that I've been taking for the last several months of just how compulsive that is for me. And I'm also aware that that's a habit that has to be replaced with a different habit. And that it's not something that's going to happen overnight, like my brain wants it to. That I just have to be patient, and I just have to keep bringing myself back to recognize to notice when I am doing the busy thing in either my thoughts, my emotions, or my physical body. And if there is anything else to that I need to know, I would look forward to hearing it.
Thank you, Kay. That was very helpful. So just to take a moment with what you said, Kay, remember, if we can do it 51% of the time, that's how we define really being in a good place, right? That our humble humanity just gets lost, gets distracted, and has to find its way back over and over again. Yet there's a very important key here, that when we catch ourselves back in the busyness and mindlessness instead of mindfulness, right? And now we're feeling stuck and awash in our emotions. That the most automatic response we have is to be upset with ourselves, right? Which actually is a trick of the lower self to keep us in that very place. That it almost seems revolutionary to notice where we are in one of these humble humanity places and actually feel some kindness and understanding, right? We're so used to pushing ourselves and trying to make ourselves into a better person, right? So who else has something they've been noticing or
I'd like to say something. I think what sort of, I guess, resonated with me in that lecture was the mention of that we have these beliefs that perhaps we were born into, that they're like a default. That's who I am. That's what I am. And I think for myself, I've always been trying to find ways to find my personal power. But it's always working against that belief that, you know, I'm powerless and weak and whatever. And, you know, so I love physical activity. You know, I'm really good at it. I love cycling. It gives me power, personal confidence. But just in the lecture reading that it's just this belief that I was born into that runs my life. And then I'm always, you know, finding ways to be different from that. Hence, you know, path work. But, you know, in the lecture it mentions just challenging the belief. What is the belief? What is it that you were born into? And the idea that you could challenge that. It's like we do all this work, exercise and whatever we do to build confidence. But, you know, can I just challenge that belief? It was like, what? What is the belief? Can I just challenge it? It's just like, yeah, can I just do that? You know, just that, yeah, the remembrance, you know, but it's a belief. It's very ingrained. It's very lived out. But yeah, I was thinking of that on my walk this morning. That, oh, okay, wow. I can identify it and say, well, yeah, that's how I have lived. That's what I was born into. But that's not true. It's not true. But yeah, it's lived. Yeah. Yeah, it's still, yeah. I mean, I've brought it up again now, but yeah, I don't know what to do with it or what I'll do with it, but it's. Yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
Thank you, Kath. And is there a specific self-limiting belief? That's the phrase the guide uses, right? Self-limiting belief that you ran across that you're able to share today?
Oh, I was born and identified with the energy of my mother, and my mum's energy was often, I'm stuck, I'm helpless, I can't do anything. A lot of anxiety and fear, but just feeling, you know, there's not, you know, I've worked all my life with meditation to bring the anxiety down, but yeah, that's what I grew up in. It's you're stuck, you can't do anything, no way out. So it still rears its head when I'm stressed. Yeah.
Thank you, Kath. That phrase self-limiting really hit me between the eyes. I have a self-limiting belief. Wow. So what you said, Kath, it's not true, and we all know our self-limiting beliefs are not true, yet they also feel real. You see, that's the crux. So it's a kind of aikido we want to do with what seems so real, yet we know it's not really true. Right? So we want to make room for the emotional energy that's in the self-limiting belief. That's the part that needs help, right? I see you feel stuck. I see that. It's okay with me. I get it. You know, that we're, again, that you know, we've all heard, and the guide says the greatest force in the universe is love. And that word often seems like an abstraction, yet here in our work with ourselves, the manifestation of that is patience, kindness, understanding, right? Which are things most of us have been waiting all our life to feel. So we're finally coming to the place of being the voice that we've been waiting to hear. Right. So imagine for a moment, let's just do that. Each one of us, just soften your eyes for a minute. You don't have to close them, but just let one of those self-limiting beliefs come up without thinking about it. It'll be right here if you let it. And notice the natural impulse we have from the mind to want to wrestle with this fixed belief and give it evidence how it's wrong. And then notice that kind of superiority in us towards this other part of us that's struggling with this self-limiting belief. Or maybe even judges the one having the belief as the cause of the problem, right? And for most of us, this is so familiar. We've been doing this all our life, trying to push ourselves into being, quote unquote, better. You just take a moment in your own privacy here and see what voice of kindness and compassion, understanding and patience might arise towards this place in you of the self-limiting belief. Not advice, it's energy. Just maybe you can feel some softening of your heart towards it. Taking your time to come back, no hurry. Did anybody notice anything they'd like to share?
Today, I'm in a place where I don't fight against the voice of telling me I'm worthy. Today, I'm like, yeah, you're right, I am. So there wasn't much of a fight going on in me. But I wanted to just tell Kath that, a lot of your experiences too with these, what are my limiting beliefs and why do I believe them? And what does the guide say? You have to puncture your mind to expand it. Yeah. And it sounds crazy talk, but I'm willing to give it a go. Yeah. Some days I really doubt it, but I'm still willing to try it.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, I think something that Judy and Kath have said is really alive in me at the moment is this thing about willingness. Am I willing? Well, I feel I am, but my question to myself is, am I willing to be open to what is here for me now? And so, with that meditation, look, whatever it was coming up, that. Am I willing to be open to what's here now and real for me? So, what is the love that is possible for me that's real in this moment? Not the one that I want, not the one that I don't want, but what is it that's here that I could be a part of now? I think, and that to me links into the self-compassion around, that judging, that part that wants to keep me separate from, not just from the world, but from myself as well.
Thank you, Kath.
what came up for me was unlovable. And I'm also aware that my child really thought my parents were great, but they didn't know themselves and didn't know who they were. So it was kind of like a unemotional place to be. So I'm kind of like looking at it from that perspective now. So it's feeling unlovable, seeing the environment that I was in and not being willing to disc my parents. So yeah, the little girl doesn't want to do that. You know, the part of me, or that emotional part of me doesn't want to do that because I'm a parent and I want to be respected, even if I flubbed up, you know, too. So I come up with reasons that really have nothing to do with addressing the fact of that situation to get through it. Like so that was what came up for me is unlovable.
I guess the
Yeah, I can really feel the lack thing when you brought that up. It was it kind of started out as a, you know, well, I'm never going to be smart enough to really pull this off, or I'll never have enough information to actually get away with building that. Or I mean, it was like all these things that I was never going to have enough of to be what I needed to be myself, you know, my idealized self-image, evidently. But then in the background, I heard, which I hadn't been hearing, was I'm never going to have enough stuff to be lovable. And I thought, oh, that's different. I mean, it's not, but wow, that's like, well, I'm kind of screwed. I'm never going to have enough stuff to do any of that crap. So I was like, holy cow. Man, that stuff's been running in the background for a long time. Pretty curious.
Yeah, the power of it is humbling.
Yeah. It makes me wonder where I'm at.
I would like to share something. And before I do, I want to acknowledge that I have this feeling that like my sharing is going to be really lame. And so there's some hesitancy, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it because there's also been a consistent thread with what I have been kind of going through that a lot of people are sharing right now, especially in the context of not, well, what I'm hearing from a lot of people in kind of different words is self-love and self-care. And I've been kind of having an epiphany the past day or two because I'm seeing such incredible examples of self-love and self-care in all formats, and of all formats, I'm finding it on TikTok. And so, like, I normally do not like social media. I don't post any videos on TikTok, but I've been watching videos on TikTok. And I think I'm putting out a lot of good energy and receiving good energy because I have a staunch rule that I do not leave any negative comments whatsoever. I see some things on TikTok that I don't like. And so when I see them, I just continue to scroll up and just continue to move on. And if I leave a comment, it's always positive based. But I am realizing that I am so drawn to certain people who post videos on TikTok. And I'm realizing that they are expressing just this heightened form of self-love and self-care, self-appreciation, self-awareness. And I didn't understand why I was being drawn to some of these people But that's the reason why. I will only give one example. There's this one guy, he's somewhere here in the United States, and he makes his bed and he takes an iron, he irons his sheets down after he's made his bed to make his sheets like extra crisp and just, you know, clean and pressed. And I can only imagine what that would be like to crawl into bed at the end of the day when you have your sheets ironed and pressed and crisp and clean like that. And he never says anything in his videos. You see him ironing his sheets or making a smoothie in the morning or doing exercising and just all this and all that. But I'm just like drawn to them like flies to a flame, because there's just such an expression of self-love and self-care in what he's doing. And it's something that I know I need to see. And he's providing this for me. Totally unbeknownst. He doesn't know me. But it's such a profound gift that I'm also giving to myself, because I'm putting out that energy to receive that gift. And I'm sending him positive energy in return. So that's just what I wanted to share. Thank you. Of all things, TikTok. Who knew?
Wow, Mark.
I just love it, because it's just, for me, it's an example of sometimes I really have been trying to open myself up to God and just to receive guidance in whatever form God can give it to me or wants to give it to me. And God has given me guidance and help through social media, which normally are two words that I loathe. But I've opened myself up and I've received it. So thank you.
Grace comes in astonishing ways, doesn't it?
But when it does, it just like washes over you. It's just
yeah, it is energy. It's energy wave.
It's just yes. And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the love and just the gratitude. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I really welcome you taking that risk that you took.
Thank you.
I'll go next. And like Mark, I'm kind of glad you shared that, because what I've been doing is I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch people having these morning routine videos where they'll wake up at 5 a.m., what they do for themselves. And it's actually inspired me to do the same, you know, to take care of myself. It's just the littlest things, even cooking or eating healthy food. I'd be afraid of doing that, and I'm doing that for myself. So it's not a big change. You know, the inspiration to wake up in the morning, to actually want to wake up in the morning and have a morning routine for myself, sit with myself, whether to meditate or work out, whatever. And I would never do that. I'm the type of person, sleeping is my comfort zone, and I would sleep until 2, 3 p.m. You know, it's just my body shuts down. I was always tired. That's what I wanted to do. So that's inspired me as well. I'm glad that you shared. Right now, when we did the little exercise, Brian, I have this belief that I'm not capable, and like with anything, it's fear plays into it. So because I believe I'm not capable, I won't even try and look for things. It could be as simple as maybe enrolling myself into something, making a career change, because I don't think I'm capable. Unless other people help me, I won't be able to do it. And again, it's fear and it's paralyzing. So I just stop. I don't do it. I'll just sit in front of the computer. But anyways, right now, in my mind, I sort of said out loud, you're not capable, you're not capable. And I felt myself becoming really constricted, almost as if I was tired of believing it. And then another voice said, well, you may not be capable now. No, it said that it's not that you're not capable. Maybe you just need time to know yourself better or something.
Wow.
Just allowing it
Mhm.
I have a little bit of resistance to that as well. But there is a shift in perspective
Mhm.
slowly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jasmine. And, you know, for all of us, that's how deep change happens, with a small shift in self-identification. Right? Because it begins that, you'll hear me repeat this often, self-sustaining, self-augmenting process, that just being aware of how we're stuck in our self-limiting belief already begins a process of change. Because now there's a part of us that is identifying the self-limiting belief instead of identifying with it. And now that small part is where grace will come in. That's where grace comes in, when it senses an opening, a new thought, a new willingness, right? And from that, the superpower, the guide calls it, of our positive intentionality. I want to be happy. I want to live a full life. You know, it really is like what sets things in motion on levels that we can't see. Help starts arriving, things start showing up, right? You know, that's the thing about the pathwork. I said this last time, 258 lectures, 1,000 spiritual laws, all these amazing techniques of looking at yourself and so forth and so on. Yet, remember, that's just the means, it's not the end. And what the guide is saying in this lecture is all that stuff is valuable. Yet again, it's only half the story, right? The other half of the story is just to find some way for a few moments to be willing to sit in the I don't know. That's where a lot of it starts. Just be willing to tolerate I don't know. Because our self-limiting beliefs are actually, as terrible as they are, we have the comfort of being a know-it-all, right, about something. You see that? The seduction. Even if it's at our own expense, the mind gets to feel superior to the rest of the being that we are, right? And it doesn't care. It just wants to be smart, to know what's going on. So, you know, the creative emptiness sounds both wonderful and kind of daunting, like, oh my God, how do I do that, right? Well, the guide makes it very clear. Just take a few minutes just to stop and be in that, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to sit here. Because what gets in the way is some fixed idea that we have of how it should look. We have an expectation. And now that expectation itself becomes a self-limiting constraint. We're waiting for something we think should show up. And actually, our vision, our imagination is very limited. And, you know, we've all had moments of that creative emptiness at various times in our life. Sometimes out in nature, looking at a night sky, sitting on the beach and watching the waves. You know what I'm talking about here, right? Where it's just time stops. There's a calm, a stillness. Sometimes we get an insight into our life situation we never had before, right? And that didn't come from out there. That's already in here in our real self. So part of what we're doing and with the creative emptiness is just being willing not to have any fixed idea or thought or expectation, and just what the mind calls wasting a few minutes, right? Doing nothing. The guide is saying, this is a profound spiritual practice that will serve you well, right? For some of us, it could be lying in a hot bathtub, being in a hammock outside, you know, just lying on the mat after some yoga, or coming back from a walk and just sitting in a chair outside, right? Yet we're all here because there's something about the pathwork that's drawn us, and again, a lot of it takes a lot of effort. Yet this part is essential. The non-doing, the non-effort, right? Yet the effort it takes is just to say, whoa, I'm going to slow down here, right? And remember, in the lecture, the guide says, we've been conditioned to busyness. Right? Our society, the needs of industry, of commerce, of the marketplace, it needs all human beings to be scurrying around like ants on the anthill. Right? That we've been conditioned to believe this is our purpose in life, is to be productive, to be practical. And this is what we run up against when we talk about making time for this creative emptiness. So I keep wanting to find ways to help you know how accessible it is. And the main one is, it's only 2 or 3 minutes. So last time I offered an assignment. I don't know if anybody had a chance to do it, but for those of you who weren't here, I didn't say take 2 or 3 minutes every day. I said, just notice what comes up when you have the thought, oh, I should take 2 or 3 minutes, right? The resistance, how it just quickly comes in, right? Did anybody notice any of that since we last met? Anything you want to say about it? You know, you're not speaking for yourself, you're speaking for many of us here. It's just uncanny how that resistance comes in, right? And it's got a lot of justification. I gotta get these things done, right? Sink's full of dishes, water needs to be folded. Right? So remember the beauty of this pathwork. And it's interesting to me, so many people tell me, oh, the pathwork, that's really hard, isn't it? And I smile and I say, well, the only thing harder is not doing it. So, you know, at the essence, we often, in the beginning of the pathwork, say that, well, being a pathworker means being willing to look at your lower self and your negativity, and, you know, take responsibility for your life, stop being a victim, stop blaming your parents, you know, so forth and so on. All that is true, but notice the energy in that, right? how easy it is to start shooting on ourselves, right? And really, at the heart of it, the pathwork is about really connecting on the spiritual level with who we really are and turning that energy towards the human being that this spiritual being is living with, and shifting our identification from the human who is struggling to the spiritual being who only has unconditional high regard for this human being. There's nothing the human being can do that can disappoint or frustrate. The spiritual being in us knows the human being is doing the best it can, no matter how bad it looks. So that's part of what starts to come into the creative emptiness, is that the identification starts to shift from, I'm Brian, to I'm a soul inside this beautiful man who thinks he's so ugly, right? So the resistance that we were talking about, right? It's not the problem, it's just the low-hanging thread. Right? If all that shows up is resistance, that's at least something that's showing up. So the resistance usually is some form of no, I don't want to. Most of us have forgotten that for like a 2 or 3-year-old, that is the most powerful word in their vocabulary. Right? No, no. And for many of us in our childhood, that was not well received. What do you mean, no? You will because I told you to, right? So you see, a lot of our resistance is still acting out something that needs some attention and healing. So the most powerful thing, as we know in this work, when the no is showing up, is just say yes to the no. Okay. I'm not going to make you. Because our resistance, our no, actually feeds on our resisting it, right? So just by not pushing back, it already gets softer. A little later, it'll come up and say, can we just try it a little bit? And if I don't like it, can we stop? Yeah, okay. So my hope for all of us after tonight is like, we could have a whole new experience of, more often than not, having some creative emptiness. A few minutes at a time. Almost every day. Right? Like, what does that sound like? What does that seem like to you? Is it something kind of vague and abstract, or another thing to put on your to-do list, or because remember, if it's on the to-do list, it is definitely not going to be creative emptiness. So remember, our number one task is try to outsmart a very smart human being. Right? So we know we have to be tricky in a good way for the sake of this human being, right? This just so good at the no, at resisting. So one of the keys in this lecture is what I described last time. Remember, you got to try real hard and also let go. Sometimes at the same time, right? That this is a key in a number of lectures that I my whole pathwork experience, I find right at the core of at the top of the toolkit. Right? And in another lecture, the guide calls this mobility in relaxation. Right? And the most powerful active principle is one that comes from a relaxed place rather than pushing forward. So, Kath, you're right when you said sometimes we have to puncture that self-limiting belief. Yet remember, we don't keep puncturing it over and over, right? We puncture it, and then we say, wow, you're bleeding. How can I help you? I want to get you out of here. Come on, we can be free, right? So I want to see if anybody got kind of like a felt sense of this active and receptive at the same time, right? Like you pedal the bicycle uphill and then you glide down the other side, right? That for every effort, you want to have a matching letting go, right? So that's where the effort can actually blossom and grow, right? Growth, ironically, doesn't happen when we're trying all the time. Yet, many of us fall into that trap, even on a spiritual path like this, because, we're afraid of getting stuck again. Oftentimes, we find ourselves stuck again. So sometimes that phrase, don't do something, just sit there. That's real value. That's what the guide is wanting us to see, creative emptiness. I'm going to be still now and just open the floor up here. And remember, doubt and objection is utterly welcome here.
You go, Kath. Okay, go ahead.
When you say, thank you, Judy. When you say being active and receptive at the same time, what I think about is, and I'm checking to see if this is what you're meaning, an example of what you're meaning is, I have to be active to actually bring myself to the mat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then I have to be receptive to be in the creative emptiness.
Yeah. Right.
So,
okay, the have to is, I feel some caution around that, right?
yeah, well, I know, but that brings
Judy
me
is smiling. She hears this from me a lot.
that brings me to another point, because I had to laugh when you said, did anybody try your practice last week? And I did think about it, and what came up for me was, I'm too tired. And so what I realized was, what I did instead oftentimes was to mindlessly surf the net, just and so what I realized was, there is an issue for me with thinking that this whole creative emptiness is going to take energy, and takes much less energy to be mindless. That's it. It takes too much energy to be mindful.
Yeah, I get this one.
And I think it does at this point, because my habit is to be unconscious, unaware, and mindless. So that's easier at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess I just have to.
Yeah, that's helpful, Kay. And Judy, if I can respond to Kay before you speak. Remember, we're really trying to understand ourselves here, not scold ourselves
Right.
doing something, right? So I can relate to what you're saying, right? Yet it's curious to me that really what's calling me is an experience of pleasure, of joy, of bliss, right? So what's really at the heart of my resistance for me, Brian, usually it's a self-limiting belief. Well, Kay can have that, but not you. Kath can have that, but not you. Esther can have that, but not you, right? And my own wounding, right? Again, you see what we're looking at is the presentation of the objection, and underneath that, there's some part of us that needs, I could say help, yet really needs understanding. Right? So the self-limiting belief, Kay, that you're reporting, that very common in many of us, is I'm too tired. I mean, I think everybody here would raise their hand. That is often something that comes up, right? I'm too tired to let go of my making myself tired, right? I mean, that's really what we're doing. Right? So again, underneath that, there must be some self-limiting belief and some fear. I can't have that. Like what the guy had said, with the creative emptiness, there's a core fear in every human being. There's not going to be anything there. I don't want to be a fool, I don't want to set myself up for disappointment, right? So, Kath, coming back to the puncturing, I'd say the puncturing is like a bubble, right? Actually, the self-limiting belief and curiosity, open curiosity. What is this really about in me? My resistance, right? What's underneath that? Could be, for example, for me, I have a part sometimes says, that's all bullshit. Life sucks. Life is hard. Right? And that's true 49% of the time. But that other 51% is what keeps getting me to get up off the floor. So, Miss Judy.
So last time you sent me the recording of last lecture series. Thank you for that. So I was listening to it, and I think it was actually Kay who was talking about, so I want to come back to the point to make sure I'm getting it. Somebody was talking about the relationship of meditation to creative emptiness. And you say, well, yes, but then you're still meditating. You're
Yeah,
still
that was Catherine.
Oh, it's Cat. Okay. So you're still meditating. You know, it's different from creative emptiness because you're still doing this meditation. I just want to make sure I understand the difference because I don't think I do. When I meditate, what I try to do is become empty. I'm not doing anything. I'm just breathing.
Yeah.
But that's different from creative emptiness.
Well, I don't want to knock meditation at all.
Well,
For
it's
anybody
not
who it
better
works
or
for.
worse. Just the difference between them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can only speak from my personal experience of meditation, which, you know, I was trained in and also have taught as a helper for years and years, that it is a practice. You know, there's certain ritual aspects to the practice, right? There's a form. And creative emptiness is something that can happen at a traffic light. Something that can happen at the bus stop. It's a letting go of any idea or form. You know, conscious just letting go. Well, of course, in meditation, you're letting go of thoughts, so forth and so on. Yet, you know, part of what goes on for me is so many people try to meditate and struggle with it, right? So, in practical terms, what I observe, meditation is for a limited group of people that are able to do it. You know, good. Yet also I've observed, and this is not to characterize any of you that have a good meditation practice like you, Catherine, right? There are people who meditate for years without this experience of the creative emptiness, where now I'm going to find in a minute, let's see. As you do this in a spirit of patient, persevering, and positive expectancy, yet empty in mind and soul, a new fullness can manifest. The inner stillness will begin to sing. It will convey light and warmth. Strength you never knew you possessed will arise. Inspiration, wisdom, and guidance will come for the biggest and smallest issues of your life. Whoa. So I'm even more clear now. I want to make sure I wasn't saying creative emptiness is better than meditation. So part of what might be coming up is still a confusion, natural human confusion. Well, what does it mean just to sit there without a thought? Well, the good news is, because this is a spiritual path, we ask for help. Help me just sit here for a few minutes without a thought. Grace will come in. When we're stuck, not able to do it, it's because we're caught in the trap of trying to do it just on the human level, on the rational level. We're asking the mind to let go, and the mind is going, yeah. When we're asking for help of that, you know, really the inner God, the inner knowing, soul, grace, there's just an immediate response. And all we need to do is to practice that a few times. Really be willing to ask for help. Please help me. Just be here for a few minutes without a thought or a fixed idea of anything. And it comes. Sometimes it takes doing that a couple of times without really knowing, well, did anything happen? You can't do it more than a handful of times without, like, I had 5 seconds of that. Wow. I mean, seriously, I'm not misleading you, right? It's
Can I ask a question, Brian?
Sure, Robin.
I'm just wondering, like, is there any situation where the guidance will be withheld?
Where what?
Where guidance will not come to you on purpose? Like, I feel like I was very connected to God before, and I think I resisted following guidance, and I feel like it's cut off from me now. Is that possible? And how do I get it back?
Right. So can you make friends with the part of you that's resisting the guidance that says, I don't believe in it, or I'm afraid of it, or
Yeah, I keep asking for confirmation that that is the guidance, and I think it stopped coming because I don't know.
right. Well, the guide is very good at helping us see all the different ways we can resist. Because it's the understanding of the resistance that will help us let it go, not just brute force.
Okay.
So one most common form of our resistance is, if I really hear the guidance, then I'll have to change.
Yeah.
You see, I'll have to give something up. I don't have enough already. I don't want to give anything up, right? This belief that surrender means giving something up is a fundamental part of our dilemma as a human being. And the guidance is saying, you don't have to give anything up. You can actually have a lot more, right? Yet, so who is this in me that is afraid of giving something up? What does he need from me, right? What's his or her unique experience of this, going back to the early days in life, right? And then being reinforced by all the things that have happened to us, that have hurt us, disappointed us, right? Remember, most of what keeps us stuck is actually a misguided attempt to protect ourselves. We're not trying to be, I want to say stupid, but we're not stupid, but our defenses are stupid. I mean, really, when you look at them honestly. And what I mean by that is they're reactive, they're limited, they're repetitive, right? They respond the same way in different situations. They see things in black and white, right? So anytime, to come back to you, Robin, the guidance, we're not really aware of the guidance. The guidance is there. There's something going on in us that needs some understanding, some help. Right? So part of it is the fear of giving something up. Or if I receive the guidance that I should change my life and go live in the desert, I don't want to do that. See, we're already afraid of the guidance because the individual consciousness in us knows it's going to be challenged, right? The part of us that is trying to make life work on our terms knows the guidance is going to challenge that. And this part of us does not want to give up the steering wheel. Does that
Okay.
help, Robin?
Yeah, do I just keep asking for help and asking for, yeah,
The willingness is what's so important, the energy of willingness.
okay, very
And,
willing.
you know, the guide makes clear that just the lip service is not enough. It's like, I really want some help. I'm really willing to let go of any thought of what it might look like. So there's a powerful prayer the guide mentions. It goes like this. I'm willing to see what's really true, no matter what my preferences are, no matter what my expectations are. I'm willing just to really see things in a way I've never seen before, even if it means serious change for me, because I want to trust that life is indeed kind, that I am indeed living in a benign universe. Right? And so that's the form of that willingness. You can feel the energy of it, right?
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm. So if there's any seedling of this in you emerging tonight, I want to just take a moment and just be with each other, just to kind of be protective around that together and wish each other well with that. Like, take a moment and really feel the energy of being here together, like Canada, Australia, New York, Texas. That in itself is something very sweet and special. Right? What we're really sharing here is this longing, right? For basically just simple happiness, simple relatedness, connection. We have time for a couple more questions or sharing or.
I just wanted to say, Brian, thanks for clarifying meditation in that creative space, because you just, it sort of clarifies and confirms for me that I believe that meditation just, for me anyways, becomes just a technique,
Mhm.
and you get attached to that technique
Mhm.
and forget to look beyond.
Right.
Right. So in my head, I'm thinking, and I think Judy knows this, I was thinking of, oh, I need to do this. I need to meditate. I need to do this. But I came across this family friend of mine who just showed me a simple way to just connect with my heart. And it wasn't a technique or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in my brain, I'm like, oh, no, this can't be it. There has to be, it's meditation. Meditation is this and that. So I was conflicted, and the answer I think I got here. So thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jasmine. And maybe sometime when we meet, you can share that little art technique with us. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian, I just wanted to share with you that when you shared your news with us last time, I just went numb. I understand the natural reaction.
Mhm,
Just made me very.
mhm. Mhm. So I'll share with you where my primary place of creative emptiness practice is lying in bed. Uh, I have a Fitbit that tracks my sleep, and every night there's an hour and a half or two that I'm awake. And in the past, it'd be like, oh man, why can't I sleep? What's wrong? I got to let go of my thoughts, so forth and so on, right? The struggle. And now I just keep coming back a moment at a time to that creative emptiness, and time stops. I no longer am aware if I'm awake or asleep, right? Of course, because I'm human, I drift out of that and I start realizing, oh my God, I'm still awake, right? Yet I know now. I just keep doing it over and over and over. Help me let go. Right? Asking for that help. That's a wonderful time. If any of us wake up at night and have trouble going back to sleep, right? So we're getting ready to come in for a landing, and I just want to thank you for being here, and also let you know any of you are welcome to email me at any time, at any length. Right? It's okay. I'll answer. I'll reply. And so I'm going to invite us just to close our eyes for a moment and let your hands come out in front of you towards the screen. And just receive the energy that's here, that we're creating together in our circle. And now take a moment and open your eyes and really let that energy come out to the other faces here, right? Docking station, charger, right? And thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning to Australia. Good night to the rest.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
very, very much.
Everyone, blessings. Bye.
God's healing on you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if, like, I'm a naturopathic doctor, I don't know if I could offer any help to you. Whatever you're going through, I'm so sorry. Like, my heart goes out to you.
Could you say that again? I was.
So I just said, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I don't know if there's anything that I could offer for what you're going through, but
You want me to just give you the brief 90
yeah,
seconds? Are you interested in it? Just so,
yeah.
I'm 73 and I'm in my second round of metastatic prostate cancer.
Okay,
I was diagnosed 12 years ago. It
okay.
was already regionally advanced.
Oh my gosh.
I've been treating it mostly holistically, although 3 years ago I had 28 rounds of radiation.
Okay.
And last summer, another 32.
Oh my goodness.
And then this spring, I started for the first time systemic treatment,
Okay.
chemo.
Oh,
you know, I'm both very sick and very healthy at the same time.
Okay, well, I'm so sorry about that. Now, I know that Chris Wark, have you heard of him?
Hmm.
Have you?
Have what?
Have you heard of Chris Wark?
No. Can
W-A-R-K?
you email me? Um,
Yeah, it's Chris Wark, W-A-R-K. He's on
Okay.
Facebook.
okay, I'll check it out.
And right now he's got modules on for free. Like he beat metastatic, or he had colon cancer, I think stage 4. Anyways, like that's free information about, I'm sure you're tired. Maybe you're just tired of everything, right? So I'm sorry, but anyways, he's certainly been helpful.
I will check him out, and I appreciate your kindness and your good thoughts. Thank you, Robin.
Well, I'm highly sensitive. And yeah, I don't want to go through stuff, right?
And, for me, it's a faith journey as much as a physical journey. And
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have everything you need, right? But anyways, like you're amazing to just, support people the way you're doing that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It touches me how you're affected. It does.
God's love to you.
Oh.
Okay, bye.
I want you to know I'm really letting this in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.